You can use some of this. Thank you. Hey, Rusty, I may need you to bring me home. I called my husband, I said, I can't come home. I got stuff coming in, they haven't plowed it yet.
Good morning.
Or are they, okay, I got about halfway, I had someone stop. I know. I see that.
Again.
Again?
Yeah, it's drifting pretty heavy this
Because
morning.
there was someone went down, I go, oh, I should be okay, and I got to, I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, I don't know how I got to the end of it. It's like, grace of God that I made it. I called Stan and go, I'm not gonna be able to take my car, which I might get it serviced in town, so Stan said he can come get me. I was like,
They're fine.
okay. Hopefully. I need a snowmobile or something. We're gonna get started so you can go in.
Yeah, they're rolling, so.
Okay.
Our school resource officer, they're tracking. Knock on wood.
Okay.
I need 30 more minutes, I'll be safe.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Ready to start? Okay, we're gonna start with just a silent prayer, and that way everybody can just speak with, whatever's on your heart, and I'll give you half a minute, and then we'll do the pledge, okay? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, it looks like there are several that braved the weather to attend today, so I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Is there a public comment from anybody?
Seems to be a sparrow has one.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion from one of the commissioners for the minutes from our January 19th meeting?
I'll make a motion for the January 19th meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Claims 1 through 151 in the amount of $133,771.07, and the non-published claims and payroll claims.
183,000.
Yes, 183,000.
What you said, or 30?
What did I say? 183,000.
Here's a code back. Okay. I'll make the motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
hey, it's Earl. I've been,
183.
no. 3-0.
Either night.
Okay. The December report of collections, the clerk, health department, and recorder. Did you have it?
I'll make the motion.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll second.
okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
3-0. Review and acknowledge of the treasurer's bank reconciliation monthly comparison report of funds for December.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. I guess we have an appointment to be made for the Covington Petersburg Public Library. Can I get a motion to appoint Terry Fields?
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
Did we have one more we need to
We have
open?
one more sealed bid, you say?
Yes, we had, I talked to Ken about it. This is the bid that was inadvertently left out. It was timely. It just needs to be opened
Okay,
and then a motion to put it with the others if that's your wish.
okay.
By the way, that came within my reach, because I'm the one who made the mistake. I just publicly want to apologize to Roger.
I wasn't going to mention.
I knew you were. You gotta have fault where fault was, that's the thing.
I'll move to mail it next year.
I had too many things to do.
We had a steel bid from Rogers. Prices are included, it looks like, for gravel. Prices are on a quantity basis as needed.
Okay. So can I get a bid to accept that along with,
Yeah, just have a
Or
motion
just-
to include that and approve all
Okay.
the bids that were submitted at the last meeting.
okay,
So if we need to make a motion to approve all the prior submitted bids and Rogers Group, since it was obtained in a timely manner, I'll make that motion.
All second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, okay. The highway department's going after some community crossing grants, and so we need to do a resolution in order to, for authorization of signatures. At this time, can I get one of you to make a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. And then I guess the two community crossing grants, that's what this motion is for, to execute the contracts.
I didn't make a motion to execute them. I will.
Okay,
All second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay. Oh, now on to department heads, unless you guys have something else that you want to,
No, we're good.
no,
We
okay,
have a couple things we need to talk about, but we'll wait till.
okay,
departments get done.
all right. Rusty, you want to be first, or you want me to call on someone else?
Yeah, I probably forgot a lot. I did want to publicly apologize to Warren County for throwing them under the river last week with Mr. Greenwood sitting here, and I called him, apologized to him personally. I wasn't trying to create a problem, and he certainly agreed with what I presented. He was very, very talkative, so we had a great conversation. But I thought publicly I should apologize. Also, Yura and I have the list of equipment totals and stuff that I'm going to give to the commissioners to decide how we want to address in the next future. These are what are coming due when DGLF took all of our funds away from us. And these have been ordered. So I will present it to her to present to you. And then just let you guys have a heart attack like I did. So,
Additional.
You'll have to do additional. And Rusty, I think what I had suggested to you is maybe present that, let the council be aware of it, so then we can kind of think about what we want to do for additional appropriation later on, and maybe
and that's
do,
fine.
and do more than one at the same time, just for saving on publication.
Right, and I understand that. I just wanted to give you guys a
Sure.
rough idea where we're at, and then we can put it in a proposal stage.
Sure.
And because I know it's, I think June or July when we're possibly looking at those coming due. So I just want to get my ducks in a row because I forget things. Imagine that. I gotta tell you, you're probably gonna get a lot of calls and complaints. There's approximately more than 60 mailboxes that have been hit during this snow. I have not seen a snow like this in a long time where we have 7 to 9 inches of wet, heavy snow that literally comes off in snowmen. There's 4 and 5 foot clusters of packed snow.
I was following on your snow piles yesterday. He was not hitting them.
No,
He was far from it. He knocked 3 off on Corporation Line.
Right,
But wasn't driving fast. He was
No.
driving fast enough to get the thing blown off.
which brings me to another very good point, GPS again. we were accused of breaking windows on 74 going over Dixie B Bridge. GPS shows we never had a truck on Dixie B until 5 hours after that accident. So it definitely wasn't there. I sent a report to the sheriff's office showing that we weren't. Also, our report shows no truck was over 28 mile an hour plowing that snow. It couldn't, it was too heavy.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he was probably going around 30 because I was following.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, so, thank God for GPS, but you're gonna get a lot of calls on.
oh, the state highway, I was down in Park County yesterday. They had tons tore off too. You can just see a
15
lot.
on 136 in Petersburg right here. So
I mean,
it was a bad snow.
What is our liability on this? What, do we have any liability on things like that? Do you know?
If the plow actually hits,
Is it?
yes, because then we're outside of the driven path and we will do it. We used to do all. of it,
And
but
when you hit it, you literally shear the post and everything,
We
right?
hit it.
Yeah, just not take the box off.
Not pushing snow into it, but when we, and most of it will be a road grader because he's extended 2 to 3 feet beyond the cut. And he's the one that's usually gonna get the fight. But this year, everybody's getting it. I mean, it doesn't matter, that snow is just packed so heavy and it's coming out. It's like a miniature snowman sitting there ready to go. All you gotta do is.
I got my notes on.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
There's, I don't know if you're aware, but the gas tax goes up 10 cents a gallon as of July 1st. Supposedly, the governor's got that earmarked for roads. I'd like to see where his earmark going with that. Because that's supposed to create 686,000 a year extra.
For fountains?
No, I just found that's total state.
That's nice.
But the division, we may get it 10 cents or so. Just want to bring it up. You got the signatures for community correction, okay? And we were talking about.
Crossing.
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 You sound like me.
See, we do listen.
Thank you. And you know I make mistakes. So. We've been talking about some way of notifying public, Facebook, whatever. Does the county have any program on how we can notify the communities of what's going on, where the road's closed, where the bridge is out?
I don't know about Fount County. I know like Benton County has a like emergency management that they are pretty active on. And posting on. I was reading some of theirs. They were under level 5, I think, travel advisory
Right.
all weekend, and then they lifted
Right.
it. But that's how they keep in contact is through their emergency management. I'm not trying to.
He does the same thing.
Okay.
He has
Yeah.
the same thing that they do.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Posted
posts.
to the public.
He posts.
I mean, like the common public.
Sorry.
He's got, yeah, it's available to the public, and he's also got a Facebook page, and he's got,
They need to publicize that more because we're getting calls and nobody says it.
Hey, what, anytime you need something, email me, I'll get it.
Got that
Okay,
covered.
do it, okay.
EMA, got it.
Okay.
All right. I've talked to you about the grader program. We're still pushing for that. I hope to have a presentation for you by the 1st of April. This year, our objective is Davis, Richland, Kane, and Jackson. That's basically anything east of 41. That's where 90% of your gravel is. If you look at your maps, those 3-4 counties have more gravel than any other part of the county. I said counties, but those 4 townships have more gravel road than any of them.
That was Davis what?
Davis, Richland, Kane, and Jackson. That's our 100-day, hopefully, program that we can get going and get that complete. That doesn't mean we're not going to take care of the rest of the roads. That just means that's our major reclamation program. So that's all I've got, other than this weather doesn't look cooperative for the next week. And I don't even know what day it is, but I think it's Monday because you guys are here.
Supposed to get cold.
And more snow. And what we plowed at 4 AM this morning is already drifted back. On an inch, less than an inch of snow. So that's it, unless you have something. See? Right on time. Right on time.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rusty.
thanks, Rusty.
Time that for.
Garth. Well, you just hopped right up when I called you.
I know, I'm ready, see? So, first thing, copy Brendan, there's more for them, here for them. I reached out to Brenda on Friday and I sent you an email. Tim, you're aware of this. Last year, I gave you reference we had to replace the athletic center facility. We did the 3. I'm back to ask for funding to do the other 3.
Another call, more labor, should just did it at once.
Yeah. So I reached out to Matt and
Okay.
pretty sure it's about the same price as what these are. We had a little, small incident, nothing happened, but we caught it before it did, but I'd like to get those other 3 installed and we took it out of Cume Cap Development last year.
Regard to get those stools replaced.
You want to make a motion
Yeah, I
that way? Okay. Andrew,
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
So, more paperwork. Just more paperwork.
Go ahead and do those.
Out of King Cap Development.
So the next thing I brought to you was one of the things Andrew brought up was on this, and we were able to reach out to, this is on that heating and cooling system in the bay, kind of compare apples to apples on this. So we reached out, talked to BT Reynolds and David, or mainly BT Reynolds. The reason why he had quoted originally the 2 3.5 ton, which would have been 7 ton AC, and then of course Davis did the 10 ton. BT Reynolds had said that what he was trying to do was he didn't want to put so much moisture in the facility, which would create mold and all that. He felt this would be good enough, with the 3.5 or the 2 120. We reached out to Davis, talked to him, and Davis said that what his concern was, he thought that anything less than 10 ton would not be suffice to keep it at the temperature we were asking. So we went ahead and just compare apples to apples. We had BT Reynolds come in and give us a quote on 2 5 ton, which would be 10, and then the 2 120s to be comparable to Davis and BT Reynolds. So if you look, one comes in at 21,670, which is BT Reynolds, and then Davis comes in at 23,234.
And he did switch to iWave,
Yes, he did.
which is what you were promoting the
Yes.
first time.
Yes. So that kind of, BT Reynolds thought it would be all right with the 5. What he was concerned was the moisture. He just didn't want to, that's why he was trying to keep it down. He felt that 2 3.5 ton would be suffice, but just to compare apples to apples, that's kind of what we
Thank you.
on that. So, where I'd like to go with this is I'd like to move forward with this. However you guys want to do that, originally we were looking, I was going to propose to use the COVID CARES Act money, but I know that's all back into the general fund. So I don't know how how you would address that. I know it has to, you guys and into the council, but.
Correct. It needs both approval to use those funds.
But, I can present this next week to the council too, and then, let you guys.
Is the council going to keep their 8?
I don't know. Colleen, did the council say if they wanted to keep their meeting or just do a
They are
joint?
going to have one on the 8th and the 16th.
Okay,
So
Perfect.
they'll have to.
okay. So
However you
I
want.
won't be available next week. but
Okay.
I'll be here.
You'll be there. Okay.
I'll
So maybe they
present
can
it.
discuss it then.
Okay.
And there was still a hiccup with the heating though, correct?
Right now, floor heat,
Yeah, I know. I saw the email. You told me that it's working at the moment. Is that right?
it's working, but it needs,
50%.
yeah, it's maintaining around 64. I think what I gathered is what I could see or feel I think in each, there's 4 stations set up in the bay right now. I think we have air pockets in them and they have to be bled out. We had this
Oh, that's
issue
right.
last year and we were able to bleed it out. I think we've got an air pocket in it again.
Right.
And so been working with Scott. I'm gonna try to get him in, or I need to get him in here this week to get that bled out so we can get that back into a normal temp, especially what's coming later this week, temperature wise.
Sure.
But, you know, once it's working and it's great, it's just right now we've had some issues with it, so. But I'm gonna get with Scott this week and get him in and have him bleed it out or whatever we gotta do to get that back to full function. So, just an update on the vest. I told you guys Terry had given us some information on a grant. As we looked into it, the grant is more for law enforcement. It's not for EMS, it's more for SWAT, from what we read on it. Unfortunately, it didn't include us in that unless we were part of a SWAT team.
Let me ask you this. Can they go after some new and then they donate their
I
old
don't know,
ones
Terry's hiding.
So,
You can't terminate him.
I'm sorry?
to another department? You can't?
You can't.
Okay.
What's that?
So on that grant, we looked at you had sent me. and the
I didn't know what they
description,
could
it
do
was
with
more
them.
for
I don't
law
think
enforcement.
so.
was.
Specifically.
You still put in this in there.
Still can put EMS in there, and we, okay,
It's just still for you guys to.
okay.
Yeah, the fire chief from Crawfordville supposedly is a master at grants. You might want to give him a call.
Okay.
And I guess that's how they got there. He wrote grants. So, I don't know, who is it?
It's,
Who's
Scott
that?
Rosenbach.
Who's Mark, yeah.
And
Okay.
supposedly he writes grants for everything.
He and, one of the division chiefs, Paul Miller, really.
Okay, so we're kind of let you know where we're at with that right now. I mean, what we originally read was pretty defined, but talking with Terry, it sounds like we can still get that. So we'll still look in trying to get that. We still have to work the logistics out on how we're gonna handle the part-time and also protocol. As you were talking about, you know, we kind of put something preliminary together. Once we get that together, bring it to you guys to review and kind of make that decision what we want to do on that. So we originally were concerned that there was not going to be grant funding out there. And I talked with Joe also, there's not very many grants going on right now out there. So originally we were concerned that we're talking about we may have to come to the county for full funding on that. But with what Terry told me and what we're hearing, we'll continue to investigate into that and see what we can come up with on that. So last thing I have real
When you
quick.
talk to him, can you ask him if it's mandatory that they wear them? And then if not, how many wear them?
Yeah, so I'm necessarily.
Heard the, yeah, very.
I know we do have a
What you
copy.
guys do.
We do have a copy of their procedure, don't we?
They only have to wear them for active shooter. That's the only time they have to wear it. Every other time it's optional for their paramedic or whoever's on the squad. to wear the vest. So,
Breaking in.
But you never know when that's, I mean, if you're
Right.
gonna have it, you know when that's gonna happen.
Right.
I mean.
So that's kind of
Okay,
where we're
I
at, just kind of give you an update on that. We thought originally we weren't sure where the funding was, but we're getting more information now, so we're gonna continue to work on that, so.
Okay.
Last thing I have is, I told you to bring you, where our run numbers were for last year. As I told you guys throughout the year, our numbers were significantly up. Last year, we finished out with 2,770 runs. I didn't add that on there, I'm sorry, for 2020. It's broke down for you, shows you how many transports we had, SORs, which are signature of release, basically go somewhere and they refuse to go to the hospital. Standbys, this can be stemmed from going on fire standbys to if the police department calls and want us to be on standby for whatever reason. Signal nines, those basically were en route and we get disregarded. One of the things I have been the last few years, I've been tracking when Med 1, which is the Attica truck, comes down. And what we typically do is when the two ambulances in Petersburg are out on calls, we try to pull the Attica truck to the center so we can cover the county a lot better than just leaving up in the northern part. So we've been tracking that and how many times they've come to the Petersburg station, just be on standby until, you know, trucks get back in the county, and then we can release them to go back to, you know, Attica.
Have you heard they're gonna work on that bridge by Helms is on 41 this year? Is that true?
The only thing I've got the record on is the one south of the North Junction. The state sent us some paperwork on they're putting that tile where the old railroad bed went through there.
Okay.
We got some literature on that. I think Rusty did too, but they're working on that, but I hadn't heard about it.
Usually we get,
Mhm.
whenever they do anything, we get a copy
Mhm.
that they're going to do it quite a bit, probably a year in advance. And I never remember them saying.
Joe, I thought Joe, you got something.
Joe
on that,
gets them
didn't you,
too.
Joe? They're already working on 41.
So I haven't received anything on that
Up
yet.
there by Ellsworth,
Where at?
up by Ellsworth, Black Ellsworth Road.
Just south of Ellsworth Road.
Just south of Ellsworth.
Gail Helms.
No, I don't think it is. I'll have to go back and look. But what
I know they've been-
they're just south of, between the north and south.
Right.
136.
Yeah, that where the old railroad bed was. Yeah, that's what I think I've ever got.
Okay.
But I will say one thing, every time I've been by through there, I've seen a lot of state vehicles sitting there inspecting it or whatever, so I don't know what that.
Remember what a pain that was this summer, having to go around these stuff.
Yeah, but I've not seen anything posted yet, but
Okay.
usually we'll get something like 30 days in advance before they do it. That's usually how we get it, we don't get far enough advance notice.
341 will be closed April 1st through June 1st at Kell Ditch, which is just north of 700 on 341. And just south of 870.
Yeah.
So I got that notification, but that's not a done deal either, the way I understand through state, because some of the local, our people are, I gave them the copy of the website so they could get into the meeting, and they were very happy that they were there, so. I don't know how that's gonna transfer.
Good.
And I felt like they should know.
Right.
So then down at the bottom, the other, that is basically, we track, when we call for helicopter medevac, you know, and we had 30, you know, in 2020. And obviously, when you look 19, that's our numbers. Yearly collections, last year was a rough year. It was very challenging for us, with COVID. The last 3 months really hit us hard. With us being so busy, she was out for a month. We were trying to keep the stuff moving, you know, paperwork getting through the system and things. We got a plan of action in place. First, you know, we've moved, you know, Jeff into the office, and in the 3 to 4 weeks that he's been in there, we've seen a dramatic change in our billing, which this next month when we turn in collections from January, it's going to reflect it. I think it's going to continue to reflect that with him moving in and be able to help her pick up things that, you know, that he can do some of the things and she can do some of the other stuff in her billing. We were talking about that the other day. I'm not sure where we'd be if we had not moved him or had a part-time person in there. I think we'd be in the same boat where we was at the end of the last quarter. So one of our goals this year is to work hard on picking that up. I can't tell you where we'll be. You know, some of the insurance companies are delayed on paying, but we're trying to stay on that to make sure we're getting everything collected as we can. So I know that's a big drop from last year or the year before, but it just was a very challenging year. And
Can you still get some of that?
yeah, what we missed, yeah. Oh, yeah, we've seen a huge difference, what we've done now, what you'll see coming in for January, we picked up a lot of that.
Good.
And I think we'll see more in February and March. So. Other than that, I don't have anything else. You guys have any questions?
I'll come back with you on the 8th
Okay,
with these guys.
okay, perfect. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guard.
Yep.
President.
When we're looking at health department, I would love for somebody from the health department to show up on the environmentals at one point, so I'll make a call and ask them to do it at the next meeting.
I know that they've been sending the link to Kelly, and she has, been on the Zoom meeting and everything.
Well, there's different things, I just want to talk to them face to face about
Okay,
the health, the environmentals.
okay. Well, I did go to the pre-health board meeting, so, yeah, that was an hour and a half of, financial basic 101 with them and everything. I don't know, I think the council, need to talk to the council because Warren County seems to want to be more involved in decisions, but I don't know, it's kind of messy, and I think a lot of them just don't understand that we are the lead county, we pay the bills, and then we bill them for their portion, and they're refusing to pay us back for our IFA cares. We went after percent, they don't have the money, they can't go after it, but it's still money that was spent by Fountain County, and we need to talk with you, Kent, on how we can go about getting this all settled. I've been working with the auditor's office on billing, and I will continue to do that to make sure that we get back what we put in. We put in $36,000 of our IFA funds that they really need to reimburse us for their portion. So that was heavily discussed, and I was the only commissioner from Fountain County there, but as auditor at the time, I did the billing, so I just I was there to answer questions, made them aware of certain things, so I don't know how that panned out. I don't think they have quite the negative feelings that they were having. I think there was some backlash going on. So, and I did bring up that we need to update our, if we're going to continue with the health sharing, we need to update that because that is so old.
Yeah, it's so old, the way it was set up, there wasn't the research that we did last year, there's no, it looked like there was an interlocal cooperation agreement and there's nothing contractual. It was all through ordinance and trying to go back through the old statutes. So it may be an opportunity to clean it up and form a new structure.
And so Kathy was told that, no, there was no more talk about splitting, that that's it. We just didn't talk about it. Doesn't mean we're not going to do it. It just means Fountain County has not discussed anything. And that was not a lie. We haven't. But we might.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
in your code search, did you come across the old code where they actually named Fountain and Warren County?
I think it was in the records.
Yeah, actually, I mean, that's gone now because they revised it. But it was actually, and that's what they were all working off of. It's all changed now, this generic.
So anyway, they do know that Fountain Warren County commissioners do need to meet with one another to see what they want to do.
And are we, I think we are there might be city and county health boards, but we might be the only bi-county health.
We are.
In the state.
As far as I know, we are still.
Mhm. I know there was another county in the southeastern part that was considering joining 911. And David Botteroff from AIC pulled me aside at a conference. And I did relay to him that I thought dealing with it here in this county, I would do 50-50 if you're going to consider it, because it's very messy, and this CARES Act thing made it even messier, and the billing, and that's what a lot of them, they don't even understand what this county had to go through to submit all the paperwork and now turn around and try and bill Warren County, and only to be told, well, we don't have any money to give you. Which, they did supposedly go after all their IFA monies, but when Joe and I looked online, all the funds have not been released to them, and I don't know why, unless they're just holding on to them. Not my problem, but yet it is.
It is.
Yeah, about 6 years ago, White County was looking to partner with Joint County, and that's when the state was looking into it, it's when they were beginning the change of the code. And that didn't develop.
So at some point, okay, I guess, well, since no one's here from the health department, we'll move on to the sheriff. Do you have anything, Terry?
No, the only thing I got for you guys, I've got 51 in there. We break this down through. 32 local holds, that's ours. The Sullivan County, we have 8, DOC, we have 5, and parole, we have 6. So that's what we're holding out.
How many total?
51.
So your walkthrough, you feel pretty confident everything is on the open up with Kettlehead and all of them? Okay, I just-
Open up, but yeah.
okay, well.
I didn't see
yeah.
anything on the lobby on that. Did you get that resolved or?
On the Saturday.
Lobby.
On the lobby, the cold, how cold it is?
No, we still didn't cover that.
And it wasn't on the punch list, so it's probably done.
It's probably. And it is cold out there.
Well, even when people grouping up out there, that was fun.
Well, it doesn't freeze the pipes again.
Yeah.
No, the trees are quite burning the lodge, right? So, but other than that, that's all I got. Somebody's got something.
I don't.
Colleen, did you figure out the credit card?
That's been taken care
Okay, why were they doing it? Just curious.
of. Why they were,
Charging us when you should have been.
I think they credited the counts wrong.
Okay.
And all those that had problems,
Mhm.
we had probably 8 credit cards that were overpaid at the beginning of the year. And we have asked for refunds on all of them.
Okay.
So they were paid twice, but we still got cut off. And it was credited wrong at the credit card company.
Okay. So I knew Rusty was having the same problem.
Yeah, he's back in business now.
Okay. I mean, mine was never shut off, but I knew his was.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
for $13. For a $13 overpayment.
Yeah.
Now, I know Colleen, Tim had used credit card for the commissioners.
Yours is one
conference,
of,
and mine, I know I paid for the 2 of us.
we've
and that
got
was a credit.
refund, I mean,
Okay,
it shows a credit, but to make the bookkeeping process cleaner, I've asked for them to send me a check.
good. I
So we
wondered
get
about
that
that because otherwise you're not gonna be paying some of the other claims coming through and.
Right, right, it's just cleaner bookkeeping.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay.
Right.
Yeah, good.
And also, just so you know, Kent has prepared a notice of public hearing on the grants for the cars.
Okay.
It'll be heard at the next one.
Okay.
And it did make the paper. I mean, I about had a stroke because I never got a reply from her, and she was like, well, where did you send it? I said, the last email I had, well, she's changed email addresses, so. But we've got it straight. Yeah, it'll be in paper, should be in there Thursday.
Thank you.
So did you get that other one for the?
Yes, they're both gonna be in the paper
Okay, good.
Thursday.
All right.
We're trying, I mean, we're in a really unique situation here without a true paper general circulation with more
Yes.
frequent publication. So if there's a easier alternative that will prevent all of us from having heart attacks, waiting to see whether it publishes, especially when we have deadlines, we have to
Right.
have a backup plan. I
Yeah.
think we can
Mhm. Okay.
do in a way that it'll pass SBOA review.
Mhm. Okay.
Did I see legislation where they're trying to do something for the electronic stuff?
I think they are one of the biggest lobbies is Hoosier State Press, and they try to change it all the time, it never gets changed.
Yes,
The press
it'll
fights
be in
for
there.
those dollars.
I wish they'd
Crawfordsville, every time Crawfordsville has to publish,
Because
there are 2 newspapers in Crawfordsville, so they have to pay double.
it puts this
Because
in
by
there.
statute, you have 2 newspapers. Well,
Finally, I found my copy and she got it.
Okay. You can just reach out and maybe we can submit it in different format. Okay. Sandy, I see, You're on the agenda? Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks ago, our 911 addressing computer crashed. She couldn't pull it up. It's a 2000. And she's been making it along, and luckily Brad got it restored, but it's going down. And it is not on the GIS. So it's not, it's a separate computer by itself, and so when it went down, we panicked, of course, and we called some people. We called the people that helped us, which used to be Plexus, but they're in Exop now and stuff. And we called them. They were gonna look at it, and then we called, or I emailed Beacon, who does our website. And so Beacon got back with Linda, because I left on vacation, but they got back with Linda and they copied what Brad had gotten, and they put it, their magic, whatever they do, and they got it on the GIS. They didn't charge us for any of that, because it was just a simple copy, and now it's all on the GIS, but the roads don't know where they're at. We're 1 mile, 400 addresses to a mile. And in the AutoCAD, because we're smart enough, I mean, they made them, they call them smart, it knew that between here and here was this range address. Well, when they moved it, they just created a layer with the addresses on it. She still has the GIS, or the AutoCAD, and she can address off of that and get a correct address. If it goes down, then she's on paper, just like we did on the paper match. She's guessing between those 400s. So I signed a contract with Schneider to get them started to make those road lines smart, to let them, so that she can address from then on the GIS and the Esri software. We get 26 hours of support, and that support is doing this. It was gonna start with this. I pay Sidwell $41.46 a year for, I think it's 6 hours of support. I'm going to do away with Sidwell and go with Beacon for the support, because they got right on it. We have asked Sidwell, I don't know, for 3 years now, to get those 911 addresses onto the GIS. We've never gotten anything out of it. So I think we've been paying them for nothing. Because, I mean, if Linda has a problem, they used to, like if somebody wanted the shapefile of the county, we have no idea what a shapefile is.
Well, I've heard some good things about Beacon and their layers, because someone asked why we didn't have them. And I said, well, you know, we had something else from years ago, but.
Well, they wouldn't let me go with Beacon. The
Right.
commissioners at that time said, no,
Okay.
I have no idea why. And so we went
But
with
have you
Sidwell.
heard good things? I've heard
Yes.
good things about the.
It is good. It
yeah.
is a good company, and they're everywhere,
Mhm.
and they, like, and I don't know if Brad's here, he was a little while ago, but they're right now not pulling our data.
Mhm.
I don't think they're pulling that data every night like they're supposed to be. There's something stopping it. Because I've looked at some mapping that Linda has done, split, and the maps don't come up on the computer. So when people click.
Is that Beacon or?
Mhm, Beacon, yeah. So, and I emailed Beacon before I left on vacation, and Brad was gonna reboot the server, which he did, but I don't think that solved the problem. And I've gone back now, and then I got sick, and I've been gone.
Well, I had some trouble with them downloading when I was treasurer, and I addressed it with them, and they took care of it
Well,
almost immediately.
Yeah,
within
and
the
they
next
can
day.
get in contact with Brad again, because they're gonna have to work with him. But they don't even know, because I found it on Monday when I got back from vacation, and then Tuesday I was sick again.
I know.
So I've been gone all week, so, that's where I'm at. I signed with this. I'm not gonna sign with Sidwell. I'm gonna send them a notice or a letter that we're not gonna have their support anymore. And, we're gonna try to get the 911 on the GIS, which then it can go on a website. People can pull up addresses and look at them. I don't know if that's good or bad, but they can look at everything else, so. But I wanted you to have the contract, and I did go ahead and sign it, so that, and I'm glad I did, because they're working on it now. They don't seem to have a problem with it. I don't know what's in it. That's all I had. So
Okay,
if you have any questions, I'll be at the next meeting.
Okay. all right.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Hopefully
Sandy.
by then, we've got it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just recommend a motion just to ratify the agreement that the assessor made.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. I have EMA. Joe, did you have something?
Just a couple of things. One, I just wanted to let you know that we are COVID, if they're 10% of it is $53,049. I got an email that they're approved. We should be getting our funds February 8th or 9th. That's what we bought the
Signs.
So they should be in probably within another 2 weeks. And they wrote the check, but they're still in good shape. So we'll get our money back even within the check. So that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing is, I'm gonna need you three to maybe either come to office and get online. I gotta get you to get a federal ID number. So when you go to take training, you use that number so they keep track of you and you get a certificate. So we can get that done. If you wanna stop in today, if you got time, we'll get you on there. It won't take long.
Okay.
And then there's at least 2 classes you need to do. 100, ICS 100 and the 700.
Where do we find that at?
You'd be on the FEMA training.gov. And then yes.
700 and 800? 7?
Just 100, 100,
100 and 700.
100 and 700.
And then there's another class that's got it's a ICS and EOC interface, incident command and the emergency operations center interface, how they work together. I'll have to take that one too, but
You know, I
the one
went to
that I've
school.
seen on there, you guys go to the school and take classroom. I want them, I can get you on.
Okay.
So that way we'll get that.
Yeah, if you need to, you can Google, what elected officials need to have in the NIMS training and ICS training. It tells you all about it.
Yeah.
Gives you a big history of it. So you'll see, because there's actually other ones you can take.
Yeah.
And they're all online.
NIMS.
NIMS.
Yes.
And they're all online. There's no. And Joe and I can help you any way you need.
So that's all I have. Unless you got something else.
That's it. There you go.
Paula, did you have anything?
I don't really have anything other than I am down a couple of employees. Which can be a good thing for them and a bad thing for me, but I'm excited for them. And so I am in the process of hiring and I have made an offer to hire somebody. And in the process of interviewing for the next one. I am on the legislative committee, so I am keeping up with the election stuff that's going on. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff being proposed. And I'm thankful for our clerks association because we're all in unity and it doesn't matter what our party affiliation is. And so, if you guys have anything for me?
I don't think so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you back. Hopefully you had a nice trip, right?
Yes.
Good.
Any other department head? I think Greg, you
Yeah,
have something.
Adam and Donnie are back there, they're shaking their heads.
No, okay.
We're good.
Okay.
Hey, have you guys gotten together where you want those flower planters? When they come? You guys need to get together and coordinate that. Yeah. That way we'll know exactly where to put them.
Okay, I handed you out, Rusty reached out to Glasscock got a bid on a replacement unit for one of the solid waste loaders. I handed that out to you. It's a black and white picture of what the unit looks like, and then it's also the bid sheet that they gave us, and it shows how much he's given trade-in on the unit that they want to trade in. We just so you guys know, we've spent pretty well close to $1 million so far on both north and south landfill. That includes not only the rebuild part, but that's testing, that's engineering, designing, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to lose that. That's a big reason for wanting this piece of equipment, so I can continue to maintain it and keep it up and running, so that it makes, hopefully in 7 years, we'll be able to do away with the inspections that need to be done on the landfill. I mean, it's always going to be there. You're always going to have to do something with it, but we're hoping that by that time, things will be deteriorated enough within the ground that it won't be a threat to the public, so that we can relax a little bit on it. But like I said, it's a lifetime. Cradle to grave is what you're looking at for this property. Whether it's you or whoever is in that position, they're gonna have to take care of this property and watch it closely. So anyway, this is just a means to give me the ability to, and whoever replaces me, to take care of that property so that we don't have problems with it.
You already said you'd cradle it to your grave, so.
But cradle it, it's great.
Oh, no, I thought you meant your grave.
Not my grave. They may bury me out there. Yeah, you may just bury me out there.
I've already made it.
Yeah, they just buried me out there with that place. But in fact, if you don't hear from me, then.
Well, it looks like you got every attachment you need for it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's that cheap with all the attachments and the backup camera.
Well, Rusty did a great job talking with Lauren, and Lauren reached out and looked, and you notice it has 32 hours on it, so it's probably a demo unit.
Yep.
Yeah,
But,
that's about.
yeah, and they're giving a good chunk of change for the the trade-in. So it's, and you can see that the list price, the amount, this is half of the list price.
Yeah.
It's a pretty nice unit, but anyway,
Great.
so that's what I'm presenting, is we can move forward with this and make the purchase, and when weather breaks, I can use it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Have we, I thought we already approved. No, we didn't.
No.
Okay.
Not the purchase of this,
Not purchase.
and that quote, this is the quote for the replacement.
I'll make a motion, to purchase this piece of equipment for the landfill and the well.
Solid waste.
Solid waste.
Solid waste.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0. As far as what we're gonna pay for this out of, do you want council to be involved in which fund?
I would think you would want to. Let's keep the council in the loop to where we're going to
Yeah,
spend.
so Colleen, I guess if you can put that on the agenda for the council, and then they can decide, whether they want to use Cume Cap Development Funds, a little bit here, a little bit there.
I thought.
Solid waste.
Oh, solid
Yeah, there was,
No, not all solid waste.
No.
no,
Because we talked about landfill, he's got
Right.
$75,000
That's what we're
in
talking
it.
about.
Well, you do.
I've got funds in landfill also. But
Yes, you
we
do.
But we talked about solid waste also has funds, because it's gonna be their unit too. It's not gonna be a 50-50 split, but
No.
I don't want to use all my 75,000, because that's also for testing and everything else. I've got probably $15,000 a year in water testing I have to do.
Yeah, there's a,
Well, then we can't buy the trailer then with solid waste then, if we do that. I don't know how much your 55,000.
Hey, Greg, you also have this spring, you have rolling both caps, you have to roll both caps this spring.
Yeah.
Get that consideration.
Yeah.
Well, then let's run it through the county because it needs to be purchased, so.
I would say leave it up to the council on how they want to fund it.
Okay.
I mean, it's needed.
Yeah, no, it's definitely needed, so, and that's fine, if the solid waste is tight.
Solid waste.
Yeah, if the solid waste is tight, then it's gonna have to come out of, whether it comes out of rainy day or whatever, it's gonna have to come from somewhere.
Well, a lot of the rainy day we've had to use for the landfill
I know.
because no money was,
We never put the million aside.
there's only like
Not
70-some thousand that's in an
obligated.
account.
Right.
Other than that, there's nothing. So, yeah, I would propose that the council just figure out how they want to fund it.
Okay. Colin, if you can put that on the agenda
got
for
it.
me, I can't guarantee that I will be here. I might have to make a quick trip to New York, so. Family problem. 55. And some change.
Okay,
So,
I don't have anything else. Any other questions to you? Did you have any questions, Andrew?
I didn't.
Okay, we're just gonna put it on the council's agenda and let them decide how they want to fund it,
Okay,
because it's needed,
right, of course.
so.
okay.
I mean, you still have several years that you
Yeah, I've
got
got
baby
those-
this, so
Yeah,
I
I've got
mean,
another
you need
7 years
something.
to do something. So,
Right.
Okay,
It's,
All right.
yeah, it's needed all around.
Yeah, they watch us like a home.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kim, did
Okay.
you have anything else for us? I think I might. Rick, what? You're waving at me.
Like Rusty was talking about the snow, there's a real bummer. And it's just me. It's about to kill me, if you tell you the truth. We got funds in for temporary help.
Mhm.
I want to try, if we can use that money for unemployment.
That's what it's for.
I think 2,000.
2,000. Mhm.
We got a guy, a block from here, said he would help. He'd have to come and talk to you guys, you know, through this county. I'm not going to.
I just need
You know.
to come see you, right? Doesn't work.
You know,
He'll have to.
is it just not easier to hire a company to come in and do it?
Well,
I
I
know
don't
they're
know.
expensive, but hey.
It's just me, I can do it. I can do it, but I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not scared of work.
That's what I'm calling that.
It's killing me. A lot of them volunteered. But I did have a guy yesterday, who was, had some hours to do. He could just do it on the weekend. I do have the old four-wheeler, which I'm really glad. If I didn't have that, it wouldn't have got something. It's just, you can't, I can't.
Well, it's wet, that is, it's leaking field.
Yeah, well, that four-wheeler's pretty good size. It wouldn't hardly go.
Yeah, just.
You know what I mean? It's just, we're gonna have to do something.
Do you remember what Smarts did for?
Yeah, about 480.
480 a ton?
That's a lot of money.
And this is the first one we'd have had to add for?
But if we wouldn't have.
Say an inch and under, 2 inches or under?
Well, we can get an inch with heavy snow, you're still in trouble.
Okay, we'll tell them if it's heavy snow to come, an inch. Not,
Right now, we really need to find somebody who can help us this year.
Okay, well, if you think of anybody,
I got
if anybody
you.
thinks,
Yeah, we can get, I just make a phone call, but he's gonna come in and talk to you guys, but I'm not gonna hire him first one.
well, why not? I mean, if you,
Well, no, I'm not paying. You guys
no,
do.
but we will, but it,
See what I'm saying? I don't want, if the state comes in and gets hurt, it's going on the county problem. You know what I'm saying?
sure, it doesn't matter, yeah.
Right.
I mean,
So it's up to you guys.
whoever comes in is gonna have to fill out paperwork
That's
in
what I'm
the
saying.
auditor's
Yeah, yeah,
office.
Right, right.
Kent,
Well-
do you have anything to say about that?
Well, it's just, I mean,
You're
If
thinking,
you hire an outside person, they're an independent contractor, they have their own insurance and, but if you make the person an employee, I mean, it's,
Mhm.
there are other costs associated with that, so it's just, but I mean, I think it's a service, so you don't have to go through any process to hire them. You just, whether find the budget source to pay for it.
And this person gonna be just on call
Yeah,
for you?
just when I need, like during the week. Like, he helped, we had some probation about a year ago. He's a hell of a worker, I'll tell you. But, they said if you don't make less than, what, $2,000, they want to take out taxes, right?
Yeah, it's based on, that's a whole
I don't know.
calculation, I guess.
If he goes through the payroll process, he'll get taxes
yeah,
taken out each penny.
you're probably thinking of a contract, if someone just pays someone X amount of dollars, no taxes are gonna be taken out up to a certain dollar amount, and then,
Just rest this year, it seems like temporary. You know.
then you can decide what you want
Do
to do.
you have a problem with me making a motion to hire Smarts to do it and forget about it?
It's up to you guys.
Unless you want to get some local
I mean, because
people to bid.
There's
I
nobody
don't-
gonna wanna do it. 'cause
Th-
it's
Those
not-
were, that was the only company that I think at the time that we contacted to get a bid.
Is there some,
Nobody else, I think Chuck Pippen wouldn't
Pippen
do
wouldn't
it.
even touch it.
He wouldn't?
And there was a future, Troy out, who might have, I don't know whether Troy does any of that or not anymore, but
No, he don't do that.
I don't think there wasn't anybody, Smarts is the only ones that were.
Okay.
They say there's just way too much shoveling, that's why they don't wanna do it. So,
Good exercise program.
yeah. I could get all the commissioners to help, I'd be nice.
Give me a shovel, I'll work.
Whatever you
I
gotta
may not
do.
want to get up that early, but
yeah, I'm,
Well, with your guy, I know he's a great worker.
Yeah.
I know that, but if he's got something going that day or whatever, he's not exactly whatever. With Smarts, you got a contract with him, you know.
well, first of all,
We
we,
show up and that, you know.
we
Right,
probably need to
I'm
reach
always-
back out to Smarts to be sure. I don't know when that was last discussed with
do we
them,
need to
but-
reach out to
Yeah,
them
let's
again,
reach
just
out
to make
to
sure
Smarts
their
and just see if
price
they're
is the
still
same?
interested or Whether they're both up, they might be both.
Yeah. Was
Yeah,
that
I
discussed
can
last
get
year?
this guy for us a year,
so,
and then you guys
yeah.
can decide next year.
And anytime you get in a jam like that, all you gotta do is call us and we'll close the courthouse until you can safely. You don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever else, but you can safely get this place ready to enter.
But really,
I mean, the only.
today, really should have had a 2 hour delay right here. Because the schools was closed, we should have had 2 hours delay. Because it was a bitch out there this morning. I hit it hard yesterday.
Yeah,
I put 23 bags of salt back on this courthouse last 2 days. And about 8 hours later.
but you didn't sign up for that, did
I
you?
know. And I just get straight time for that. It's not.
We're probably not gonna keep you very long if that continues. are
Well,
we?
people like this, I ain't gonna be around. so I'm gonna-
See ya.
Hey, Rick, I brought you some cookies.
Let's reach out.
Yeah, let's reach
Yeah, we'll
out to
reach
Smarts and see, until then.
Well, and top it off, the thing I had a bone structure. I got 33 stitches in my mouth.
He's scratching. Yes.
And I've
I'm
been-
sorry.
You still look the same.
Yeah, I feel like shit.
He's still pretty. We'll try and help you out, Rick, okay?
I just thought I'd bring it up.
Okay.
And just so you know, I just took our last 50 ton of lot on salt. We're done. So when that's gone, everybody's on their own.
Just take a
Well, you're
lot
gonna
of
have to
salt,
sweet
like-
talk someone.
Save it for the North Hatfield County, is all I ask.
You guys are the only ones getting the heavy stuff. Jeez. Won't you pay your preachers?
I know.
We're the only ones that got the majority of the stuff last night.
That's right.
We've worked through the whole problem during the kitchen meeting, we had a bus stuck.
And this 5 hours, so we don't.
We haven't done anything.
That's all I have.
Okay, I have a few things.
Yeah, I have a few things too.
Tradecraft,
Yes, that's one.
probation, and then there was one for the auditor's office. So I know that we have planned to have a presentation at our next meeting. It will be a joint meeting. I don't know. Andrew, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so specifically on these two trade crafts, I believe the invoices, we just need to sign off on that, right, for the upstairs. The auditors, regardless of what we do going forward with the master plan, we can't leave that looking like that. The hiccup comes, and Rick and I talked about this earlier, is I'm fine with this repair in the auditor's office, but we need to make a decision on what we're gonna do upstairs with that heater. And that will all kind of come with that master plan of what we do with the heat inside this building. And I'll take Rick's recommendation on this and Scott's, but if that heater upstairs in that courtroom's fine, not being used, then we'll fix the ceiling as is. If it needs to be fixed to keep it functional up there, I'm fine with that. We need to fix it first before we fix the ceiling though.
Well, I think it would be fine. Because we got like 3 extra blowers.
And be brutally honest, I don't want you to think it's fine just to try to please us. I want honest opinion.
I can't take that, I don't know, it's sitting up right now, but
Rick.
it could leak again, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I guess my biggest thing is if we cap that heater off, will that courtroom still function with the other
Oh, yeah, I
three or
don't think
four or
that- I
five
don't
heaters
think
in
that'd be
there?
a problem.
Okay. Your hesitation is the cap
This
leaking.
capped off where it can be used right now. And hopefully, it shouldn't leak anymore. Shouldn't.
We can put a bucket up there.
Hey, we got a lot of.
Here we go again.
I was definitely joking. I just heard him say about the million of buckets he found.
Well, we got about 20 up there. We got 20 all around the floor.
One's 21, right? So you feel confident if we keep it capped, we can fix that ceiling?
Yeah.
That wasn't very confident.
No.
You know, it's an old building. It could be leaking somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Right.
But right now, it's capped off. That's all.
And it hasn't leaked anymore.
No. Well, Kim hadn't got wet, we can ask her. You know.
So I'm fine as long as we're gonna keep that cap to continue on with that 37. And
$3,755.52 to
How much was it?
$3,755.52 to,
16 foot out.
that is just,
Hey, that's pretty.
Your
good.
auditor's office.
That's really cheap.
he was very fair to us. And we know the wall issue, we know all that.
I'll make a motion to.
Yep.
Contract with Tradecraft.
So I think we maybe need two motions, one to pay the 6,000 for the upstairs and another motion to continue on with the auditor.
is that in your motion?
Yes.
You're
Yes.
grouping it together. Thank you very much.
You can make Andrew's motion.
Okay.
I'll second, whatever.
I'll make and second, whichever you can
Okay.
come with. All in
All
favor?
in
aye.
favor,
Aye.
aye, 3-0. Okay, so moving forward, normally we would pay Tradecraft out of Cume Cap Development or seed it. I'm gonna recommend Cume Cap Development, and I'll have Colleen follow up and ask Dudley, the council, if that is okay with them as well. And then the other thing, I did
So
get.
while we're on this, I mean, not everybody here is involved. We have discussed between the three commissioners, and this guessing that's went on here for 56 years is going to end. We are actually going to hire professionals to come in and go through all our buildings and say, look, this is your master plan. This is what you need to do, fix these structures. This is the order you put heating in. This is the pipe you should look at. This is, and we're going to put the EMS on that list and the new jail, just because in the blink of an eye, the new jail is not gonna be new anymore, and the EMS building already having problems. County highway, we're just gonna kind of, it's just gonna be there, it's there, we know that it.
Put cabs on the trucks will sleep in.
We know that it needs replaced. So, but anyhow, that's our plan, to get someone, not commissioners, council guessing what needs to be done, but professionals who have a history of working with old facility or facilities, period. And we've got a couple companies we're looking at to come in and do this. Yes, it's gonna be costly. It's worth every penny. So,
And it's a 30-year projection.
yeah.
So no matter who's sitting here or who's running what department, somebody knows when one of us steps away, somebody knows where to pick up and keep running with it. Because at the moment, it hasn't been done. And you can look in every office. I walked through with Rick last week, and literally every office, every hallway has issues. And where do you even start? It's not our decision to know where to start. And if you do something, you're gonna tear it up later trying to fix something else. They told us it would take, maybe 2 to 3 months to get the master plan put together, specifically on the courthouse, followed by the EMS and jail. And then we would be able to really start right then and there with that master plan. So that's kind of where we are. They're presenting our next council commissioner meeting on the 16th. So I'm gonna bring it up again at the council meeting next week to fill them in on what's going on, and, so if anybody wants to come, listen to that, they'll be here 2 weeks. It'll be a good thing. It'll be a great thing for the county and all of our assets to know where we stand and what we expect to be doing in the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Make me feel better at least.
Yeah, I personally praise you guys for doing that. That is something that should have been done.
It should have been.
All times.
Yeah, and we're not pointing fingers at anything. This is decades in the making. It's
Smart.
excluding.
We just want better use of our funds that we have and
Right.
fix what really needs to be fixed.
Oh, yeah. Did this just come in?
I need to know where we're at on that.
So.
You guys should pay it or not?
No.
No.
Stop. You gotta do deposit clause. So Ken, were we working on a new deposit clause?
Yeah. You give it to your review, and then send it to them to communicate.
So I communicated with Tracy, I talked to her, and she was unable to make it this week, but she's putting together a list of financials for us to show us everything, and we're gonna meet with her, sometime next week. We're gonna set up an appointment to go see her on the site, and I kind of told her where we stood and why we're hesitant, and we just wanted to see her in person before I made a decision and talk to her a couple things, and she was very appreciative and was going to get us anything we needed. So as we.
I've got the structure of the agreement, so I can get it to you this week.
Okay.
Then you can have that.
Perfect, thank you. So I would hold off on this, Holly, until we talk and discuss, and get something situated with her.
Okay, I got Spyglass.
Yes.
I did have that Steve email me. So I haven't met with him anymore. I don't know if
So we need
we're.
Brad. Is he gonna
Yes,
come
we'll
in
need
for it?
Brad on this. So
Brad,
Brad.
we got a phone bill with a $75,000 credit.
With how much?
$75,000.
75.
I'm saving the county money, boys.
Yes. We decided we need to raise.
Mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know. I'll let
I
Brad
don't know if
address
we're gonna
it.
keep it or not, I'm working on it.
Okay.
If we do though, well, there. That,
Hey, I want you to sit down.
I don't.
I don't want you to.
Okay.
Thanks.
So
Carry on.
Spyglass, I put the brakes on it because I didn't feel like talking with you, we were getting any savings. So I know I probably need to speak with Steve. I really don't want to talk to him on my own. I don't know if we need to have a conference call, if we need to have him come and just meet at some point. Do you want me to get with you?
Sure,
Would
we
you
can do
rather
that.
do that?
Yeah, we can call him.
Because my thing in the past, Kyle that worked for Spyglass was calling and badgering Brad. He was calling all the time badgering me.
And he also called our AT&T reps trying to get access to our accounts without even calling us. So,
Yeah.
not bad.
Like we did the first go around where the commissioners gave permission. I provided Terry and I got the information. It's a lot of work to do that. Okay, so now they want to go round 2, year 2, and they want Colleen to do the same thing. Honestly, with all the stuff that I did the first time, I had never seen any savings except for what Brad did to help us.
And he had a number on that email, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I can't either. So I know, Kent, I had talked to you and I gave you that folder, with their agreement. So I guess I need some guidance on what I can do. Can I get out of the contract, with the county? Because honestly, I don't want to pay that money if it's not saving us anything. That's just me. And talking with Brad, I think he feels the same way. And I think the rest of the commissioners.
$72.50 the first year, but I don't know where.
Was this invoice paid?
No,
Because this says our data service was 10/4/2020.
I know I didn't pay it.
So are we still in contract with him?
Yeah, I think there's a termination clause, and it's just, I think we discussed the last time, you can terminate it, it's just they have a clawback.
Yeah, so probably like anything else, we would probably have to pay prorated or something.
Yeah, sure.
So whether we want to move forward on,
You probably, I mean, I don't discuss that loud, but yeah, you've got the invoice for under the current contract, and then it's just a matter of waiting moving forward.
so I'll talk with you on, what we need to do legally moving forward, because I really don't see a savings, and after talking to Brad.
I don't know where they got the 7250 at, so.
I'll
But,
either,
I mean, if it's supposedly on our phone and internet and stuff, I get it.
and previous companies that we have been with, same thing. I've done stuff on my own, and then they would get like a percentage of what the savings was for each department. It's like, we were the ones that made the phone call, you didn't, but yet you were contracted and you're getting a cut of the savings and you didn't do anything. That's the flaw. Unless you have people within your county that are willing to go after it as aggressive as Brad has been, or maybe some of the others in the office to follow up. Otherwise, there's so much that goes on in the auditor's office, it could be just pushed aside, you just pay the bill and go on. And I think that happens a lot statewide. So anyway, that's all I have on that. Did you have anything else you want to ask? Okay.
No.
I have nothing else for today. I know we got a drainage board meeting.
I've got a couple of things.
Okay.
First is Kent, Eric got a hold of you on the salvage yard starting out in 234.
We're looking at that
Okay.
portion of the, like the zoning code, or what we can do in the building.
Okay. And then also, there is a House bill right now going into committee, be voted out of committee on Wednesday. It's House Bill 1381, right, guys? 1381.
1381, yeah.
Yes. Anyhow, Sharon Nagel and Morrison, Alan Morrison, both sat on that committee. They both need to be contacted. You can read it for yourself, but basically, Andrew, jump in because you've read it thoroughly. The State Commissioner Association strongly opposes it. So.
Yeah, they're in discussions. I think they take a vote maybe Wednesday. They're in discussions this morning, I'm sure, trying to find some common ground. 1381 states that the state will hold all regulatory matters in regards to windmills and solar projects, which means that it takes any control out of a commissioner's level. So the state will set a overall guideline, and the county is not legally allowed to oppose it. They can't make it more restrictive. So the state will set that for wind and solar, and you have to roll with it. If somebody falls within their guidelines, it has to be accepted. There's nothing that local level could do, which has brought everybody pretty much into an uproar on both sides. Everybody feels that the local level should have that overall authority. Different counties have different opportunities for their land, and it isn't always necessarily the benefit of all landowners and or citizens to have wind and or solar. So we do oppose it. We feel like we have pretty good regulations in place of how our county feels that we should be going, and that's why our reasoning here is.
I will say Soliday is the chair of this committee. He is a very powerful man. I don't know who convinced him. He's usually very pro-county government. I don't know who convinced him to chair.
I know that he's really
He's upset
he's
that
pushing.
our lobbyists with Barnes and Thornburg approached no data says the county strongly disagree with this, and he's upset.
Well, what's happening in a lot of places is people are speaking up and putting real bad restrictions on wind and solar. And so that's hitting the pockets there. So if he's got influence and got money coming from anywhere, that's where he's getting his pressure from.
And are there requirements, the state usually sets requirements for setback, height of towers, safety, those kind of regulations. They're not restricting you to, if the company wants this land and the farmer's okay with it, then it shall go there. are they?
No, they would still have to fall within the state's guidelines, of all those
Yeah, so
scenarios.
depends on them usually, how high are the towers, what are the setbacks from adjacent properties?
Yeah.
Those
Right,
kinds of
but they're wanting to tell us that we can't zone against where it
things.
goes.
Yeah, something is-
Yeah, if it falls within their guidelines, even if we had different orders in place or ordinance, it wouldn't matter. And the counties can't be more restrictive than what the state's implementing or proposing to implement.
So if you have strong feelings and you want to oppose,
Just
make sure to
call
make the
an
phone
800
call.
number and they'll send you to the clerk or that, or the, whatever, that representative's help or what they call them. Do your college years.
They're not paid.
And now you just tell them you oppose House Bill 1381.
That's all you have to do. It's very simple, doesn't take very long. It's not automated or anything. So anyway,
Okay, that's it.
is that all you have? Andrew, did you have anything?
I think we covered everything.
Okay.
I got one more thing. 911, so we're gonna move them to, the county's fiber. They've had their own separate cable modem. It's cost them $150 a month.
Okay.
The only way we can do that is to add another block of IP addresses to the county's fiber, which is gonna cost another $40 a month. We can't split the bill, so I don't know how Colleen and Kathleen can work it out, but the $40 will be extra on the internet bill, but it'll be for 911, and we're asking $150 bill a month.
Well, I think for ease of billing and everything, as long as we know what it is now and then, because I
it'll
know
be broke down.
utilities, I haven't figured out a percentage of what they're using here at the courthouse versus before they were in here. So maybe we can do the same.
But I've got a contract you guys have to sign to amend. It's not adding any time, it's just to add the IPs to the bill. You guys
Okay.
don't mind doing that today, so we'll get that rolling.
Okay.
So I'll get it a little bit.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Should we make a motion on that or?
I can make a motion to add the IP addresses.
Okay.
All set?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 3-0. That's all I have, and we'll move on to, we'll break for about 5 minutes and then. Huh?
I want you all to step into my office when you break.
Oh, okay. And then we'll have a drainage meeting.
Colleen, did you have anything for us or anything we're missing? Okay.
She wanted something. That's
Oh,
what-
my God.
There was,
5 minutes.
oh, we already took care of it with Tradecraft. I told you not to leave some, but
Yes.
Tradecraft got it.
And the,
The temporary sign?
Yeah.
I just went ahead and had it signed off as supplemental, that way you can put it on.
okay.
Oh, God.
Okay. Looks like everything. You feel like that some days? Okay, we're gonna see her.
Yeah, it's.
Ready to make your way.
Call me when you're done with your meeting.
It's more like.
Good to have, keep you going.
That's where, that's where it is.
They're able to report a case where they didn't have much. loss.
I miss, when I don't get it. I can still function.
I can't move it, and then you're like, oh, please, send me my book.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
What? Go order some machine. You got a PO vote?
To rebound, I get it.
I'm telling you,
I get it.
spring's gonna creep up on me.
Yeah, I'll get it. I gotta go talk to solid waste first. They gotta get 30 minutes ready to trade it.
And we need to hold that, man, but that's why. I
Yeah, well, that's not me.
You don't have,
Well, I-
have your kids yet.
I
get dressed. No, the landfill. It's not me.
Yeah. You're gonna have to pay for it. That's why.
Oh, they pay for it. They know about it.
Out of the landfill budget. Yeah, that's what I meant. Before you.
But
tap
they
into
still,
that,
they
like-
still don't have the money. They're just taking this money out of other funds.
Oh. Yeah, we need to roll that.
I'll let Daryl know.
Yeah.
Good see Daryl tell me, but both of them need to be rolling.
Yeah, yes. We gotta keep that cap tight.
Yeah, both of them need to be rolling. I want to keep them rolling, but that keeps the sun.
Did
So I
you
see
see
a little
the
better.
last time?
Yeah. Yeah, he finished rolling. He got
On the,
south side was rolled. Yeah, it was in between when they were working on the north bank, it, got too wet and muddy. It wasn't too wet for the south bank, the grass on there, but it rolled. And it made a big difference.
It will make a big difference.
Yeah.
And not only that, we'll start seeing where it's limiting again.
Yeah.
So we can fill it and.
And there was places already, he saw that we knew this next year, we're gonna have to spot them.
Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly what we're saying.
Yeah.
Just scrape off. So that's the purpose again, guys. Scrape off the 6 inches. The top right. Bring in some good like, add it, and scrape it. No. We need to probably just renew it.
I can't do that.
You guys can vote on it. I'm not even studying the funds that. Like, we had a maximum. I don't think I reached that. Which is fine. I'm not gonna bill you for it. If I didn't work, I might bill you for it.
Right.
So we can just vote to continue that contract or, you know, whatever. So vote I can get you.
Finish this year.
Well, that's great. I know we can, just, you can, I know to renew, or we just can.
I didn't know about this.
Does it have a renewal clause in it, or?
I'll check. If it doesn't have a renewal clause, can it be extended? I think when we signed it, it was like for 3 years or something.
Oh, great.
I can check.
County.
If it expires,
I just wanna make sure it
I'll check if it expired, I'll send you a copy for your next meeting. If it doesn't expire, and it's close, you can extend it, you know, also just to say, oh, they're the same terms, just extend it. I'm charging you guys T and M.
Right.
I'm not charging those, the way we wrote it, it's like, you're on a retainer, $25,000, whether you use it or not, I'm gonna bill you for it, I'm not doing that.
Right.
Just as I go, what I use. This year, we'll talk about that now, because things are ramping up on those drains. So we may end up using all that or maybe more, so we need to be careful. Maybe adjust that not to exceed can go away, just, you know, T and M, so you guys say, okay, hold on, you know. Because I'm not gonna pull the trigger on anything until I come to you guys and get a thumbs up on the top.
I don't know, has, I mean, has it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. In fact, that's what I'm
We're thinking that's a very good thing. It really is.
Actually, we had a bunch of stuff earlier. And they were like, that's why I kept going out. We're good now, though. They're back. It's.
Yeah, how hard it is for me
It was
not drive over.
It was slushier this morning at 4 a.m. than it was at 8:30. You just turned the solid ice afterwards.
Madam Commissioner.
Oh, have we started already?
I don't know. She wasn't in there.
I know, that's
The
what,
commissioners.
after the.
Oh, yeah.
She gets, like, 29, 32 days into it. 32 days. Okay.
Thank you. I didn't know she was coming. Sorry.
Okay, are we ready? Okay, I guess, this is our first drainage board for 2021.
Woohoo.
I guess we'll get started.
Under new leadership.
Right.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Andrew, good to meet you again.
Yes, absolutely.
Did I answer all your questions on that drain the other day?
You did.
I tried to keep it pretty transparent.
That's what I appreciate.
Oh, good. We
Yeah.
need to help people, but if we open a can of worms, then.
Of course.
Pandora's box, so, good. All right, a couple of things I want to discuss with you guys. First is, we talked last year very briefly about setting up a drainage board. You know, typically, counties have drainage boards set up to deal with this. In Fountain County, it's been the commissioners just because there was no surveyor or engineer for a while. And I think, you know, over the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been filling in that gap, so.
Thank
It
you.
is up to you. No, thank you guys. And it's up to you guys to decide at this point as a new board of commissioners, whether you should have a drainage board or not. I personally am in favor of a drainage board because it takes away an extra meeting from you guys that, you know, you give the authority to that drainage board. One of the commissioners probably should be on that drainage board and have a selection of people, you know, farmers, whoever. I mean, you can have anybody you want that drainage board to make decisions that pertain to drainage within the rule and the law and administrative code. And, you know, the county lawyer will be part of that drainage board on a regular basis. I will be there. I have no voting rights. I'm just a technical advisor to that board. And the attorney has no voting right, but then everybody else on the board has voting rights. It is something for you to think about. I think it would be healthy to have multiple people chime in, so we don't end up in an echo chamber, you know, because it's me talking to you all the time, and, you know, and it's a good thing because you're up to speed on things, but if you have one of the commissioners on that board, you should be up to speed on things. So
It's a change Montgomery County made probably 10 years ago. And they've been, I think they were happy at the time, and it's worked out really well.
Did they have any problem finding people? That's our problem, finding people.
Yeah. No, they had people that were eager to get involved.
Montgomery is a little different.
Yeah, they have a lot more active drains.
Right.
what you want to stay away from is business owners that do drainage work. You know, so you don't create a conflict for them and then you put yourself in a bind, you know. If Roger is our drainage company is bidding on something Roger is making decisions on, that's going to create a conflict. I think won't be very comfortable sitting in that meeting. Yeah, so.
The drainage, would it just meet as needed, like we do more or less, or is it every month?
Usually it's every month and it's a set date, just like commissioners meetings are, but it's once a month. Unless there's a need for an emergency meeting, then you can call, you know. And Ken can go through that and tell us what a quorum is, depending on how many members are there.
Right, that's probably the only reason I've been able to keep together the planning commission for zoning and the board of zoning appeals. Is because I told them, you know, if there's nothing on the agenda, we don't exactly have to meet. Even the state statute says you should or whatever, or.
I think it's just, it would be similar to that, where you have all the meetings noticed, and then if we have business, we go ahead and, but I think as this, again, this is kind of like the courthouse deferred maintenance for 40 or 50 years, and
Right.
it's a, you can see the process it's taken to get to this point. And
Right.
it will be set up and running correctly.
Right.
It's just a matter of whether you guys, the commissioners, want to stay at the helm for that, or they want to exercise the statutory option to set up a separate board.
Tim, the one thing I've noticed with boards is I know it's hard to get people on the boards, but if you get somebody on the board and you get people on the board, is if that board functions. That keeps them on. If that board doesn't function, people are like, what am I coming here for?
Right.
So you've got to make sure when you have your meetings, you guys accomplish something.
Oh, yeah, we do. Don't we, Donnie? Yeah,
That's the biggest key for me,
yeah.
other than feeding.
Right, yeah, we don't need that. But the problem with drainage boards and farmers, obviously, 2 or 3 months in the spring, most of them plant corn or whatever. Come to the meeting in the fall, you've got the same problem. Just so we can tell them when we approach them, hey, we understand that you're busy in the spring and the fall, we'll try to work around that best we can.
And typically you would target people that you know that are willing to be on that board, you know, you're not gonna disrupt anybody. And any citizen really could be on that board, you know, any citizen of Fountain County could be on that board.
Right.
It could be a teacher, it doesn't have to be a, you know. Any.
I don't
Tired farmers.
the current makeup of the Montgomery County Board, I know there are a couple of farmers, but it's, I think they have a good mix.
Yeah, they have some retired people, they have some administrative people, some
They've
business
got
owners.
They've got some good young people that they,
Yeah,
and it's a good way to, involve, get people involved, and it kind of creates a pool of, people that can help in other boards and commissions.
Now, does Montgomery County do they pay their board, or is it kind of like the plant, or is it a volunteer?
I have to look at the statute, I don't know if that's.
I'm not sure.
I don't think there's a pay on
Okay. Because I think, Tim, you and I had kind of talked about the incentive of getting someone, whether it's good or bad, to pay. Because usually if your heart is in it, they're going to do it regardless.
yeah, I'm not sure if they pay them or not, honestly.
How many board members?
I think it's 5.
Okay.
Yeah, it seems that an odd number is the right mix.
Mhm.
Now, does it have to be Democrat, Republican?
No,
I don't think so.
you can even use an independent. if you want.
All right. All right.
How many people would be on the board?
5.
5, okay.
I don't know if they have Commissioner sitting anymore.
They had Fry in Montgomery County sitting. Was it last year? That was last year. I don't, he probably didn't leave yet.
But if you want to go in that direction, it's all created by ordinance, and it's not a very hard process.
So if you do decide to go with that, then I have a little bit of homework to get done as far as following the administrative code. There's a lot of things that have been let go here in Fountain County for the last 30 years because there was no surveyor. So for instance, there's an education process and a marketing process. So all the farmers or all the property owners that live around drains, we need to send them something by mail, by certified mail that says, moving forward, here are our rules and standards. Because we are starting to get those drains up and functional again. One of the things is that if you're gonna tie into a drain, you have to put an application in, We kind of have one now, we started it last year, but I don't think half of these people know that you need an application. They just go, they get trench and tap into the drain. So things like that, because as we progress and spend money on these drains, we don't want the farmers to not follow what the requirements are, If you have an 8-inch drain and you put a 10-inch field tile into it, you flooded that drain. And then the guys downstream are gonna pay for it. It's not, so we have to follow certain procedures and put them in place. I think that should happen regardless of whether a board is created or not, whether it stays with you guys or another board is done. So, as with everything.
I would go ahead and say, start that process now. We need to do it as far as sending letters out and things. Or do you want to wait for the board to do that?
No, I think I can draft something generic and run it by Kent for you guys, and it should go under the board or under the commissioner's letterhead, why is that engineering sending? It's not my place to send it. It
Right.
should come from you guys.
Right.
One of the things that I've been working on with these drains is setting the true watershed area, the impacted parcels. And then we're gonna start talking about how we're gonna tax or untax some of those parcels. And Kent has 2 drains that we have already completed the parcelization for. And it's just a process of how do we approach these folks and say, okay, here's your new taxation based on, I have to come up with an assessment that says for the next 5 years, we're gonna do this, this, and this to the drain, it's gonna cost this much. And for maintenance from there on out, it's gonna be this much a year, and that's what we're gonna be taxed on. Okay. I think once we have, for every drain, once we have the parcelization completed, we have the numbers, I think that's a good time to send that letter and have it all inclusive that, you know, if you tap into a drain, you should get a permit. If you work on a drain or within 75 feet of the top of the levee, you should, you know, you cannot farm all the way to the levee anymore. I mean, by statute, those drains have a 75-foot setback from the top of the levee or from the center line of the pipe. You can't just farm your corn all the way to the edge, you know. There has to be a grass buffer that's maintained by the county and so on.
Right.
So all that, we can spell all that based on administrative code. We're not making anything up, and just let them know that this is how we're gonna proceed moving forward. And oh, by the way, this is your new tax rate or whatever.
How does that work, Roger, with so much of the land being owned out of county now? And I'm talking big parts, I mean, 200-300 acres.
We just said
What if-
certified mail.
What if I live in California and I get it, you know, whatever, and my farmer says he's gonna tile it, well, okay, whatever you want, you know. How do they, I mean, how does that get relayed on to the tenant farmer? I mean, not that they'll all know, but they could use that excuse. We didn't know, you know, we could put a 10-inch into an 8 or. I don't know, because I see a lot, if you look at the plat book, it's like, wonder who that is.
This guy's in Arkansas.
Yeah, this guy's in Arkansas, or this guy's in California, or, we've got a lot of that in this county.
I think, Tim,
In every county.
what we could do, we can send certified mail to the property owners, and part of that letter should indicate that, you know, if you have a lease farm or this
Yes.
information should be
Pass
passed
it on
along.
to him, that'd be great, there you go.
And I mean, it still could be missed. And at one time, you know, we reached out to Solid Soil and Water out there, maybe whether to contract, which still, I think we should be helping one another. They have certain access of information of farmers doing certain things to their property, but yet the counties aren't getting that information themselves. And that's been going on for years.
Yeah, we need to have a way to, I mean, part of my job moving forward, if we can, I think, you support this, is to go visit those drains once every 2 years or once a year, and just make sure that there's nothing has been changed from what the original purpose was, you know? I'm doing field trips right now for the assessment of the drains, and I'm seeing things that shouldn't have happened, but they happened. Like 30 years of nobody watching. So moving forward is the important part, you know, how do we fix what we have and continue to move forward positively?
So what do we have, like 14 maybe, or something like that?
We have a bunch of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We have just off the bat here, there's the list I just gave you right here.
Okay.
And that's all your drains.
Wow.
And, yeah. I have another trip. I'm gonna bring Allison back. I talked to Brenda, and she was so honored about coming back and going through all the files here. There's a lot of information missing in some of these drains, and it may just be sitting in a drawer that we don't know where it is. We just need to come and mine that out. But the information that we do have, generally speaking, is fairly close to accurate, and sometimes not. And if it's not, I'll give you some examples. I'll give you some good news first. We went up and did the Wilson-Nixon drain, which is this drain up here. And I was very, very happy to see what the farmers have done. The farmers have taken care of that drain on their own. So I know that the county hasn't done anything there, but the farmers have kept one of the drains. Statute says one side of the drain always has to be accessible. So you can't have trees and brush and it has to be mowed or bush hogged. They have done that. That drain looks impeccable. I checked the piping, it's running, everything looks great. I mean, I'm really proud of those people being up there. They've done the right thing. Huh?
Carlson's? Is that up on Carlson's?
Big Carlson's or Desader.
Yeah, I'm not sure whoever's done it,
Cover all of them up there.
whoever's done it has taken pride in keeping it clean, because you can see even at the outlet, they have fixed it and it looks great. So, but you know, you have that, and then you have drains that really have not been touched at all.
Why did I think we only had?
We have a lot of these are obsolete.
Yeah, some of them, right.
Yeah.
So we need to go back through them, the stuff that we have data on and are still functional. You know, if I go into a drain and I see, like, let's say, Billsland all the way on the west side, we haven't visited that yet because we don't have data, but if I show up over there and there's no drain or just a swale or something and you guys don't want to reactivate it, which is probably good, just abandon it.
Okay.
But we have to go through the process, you know, either we create a drain, we maintain a drain, or we abandon a drain. You know, we have to go through the process and get it off your books.
And see, I don't think in the past, there's really been a good, like you were saying, you're going through each inactive, active. That's not been done.
Right,
And
right.
so the auditor has always been stuck with just trying to deal with the drains as best as they could and just collect on those that they've been collecting on. And then you get to the point where, okay, do I need to stop collecting because no one has really even presented a plan that they're going to be doing any construction. And as the auditor, they're not aware of if they're going to do work, no work. So there are a lot of miscommunication, no communication.
Well, we owe it to the people that have been paying to identify maintenance that can be done and
Correct.
spend the funds that are there.
Well, and it would just make the bookkeeping here, a lot better too.
But then there's the statutory process is, for example, the Wilson-Nixon, they've done all the work, they're happy with how that is. We can recommend that we want to, restart assessments and redo things, and they may say, no, they could petition just to vacate it and make it theirs.
Yeah.
So the landowner's gonna say, the
Right.
process.
But I agree, the records need to be updated so that we know. Because Tim, you're not aware, I've been in that file, so I've seen some of these names.
So I want to, and this is, I'll put all this in the report, but right out of Covington, the Ramsar drain. This is a legal drain. It's a ditch in the woods.
Wow.
Okay? See that?
Mhm.
It really should look at a minimum like this.
Oh, okay, yeah, big difference.
Yeah. Okay, you can see that. This is what it should look like. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so those are things, I want to bring those to your attention, because again, we're walking through every one of those rings. And as I walk through them, some of them I shake my head, it's like, how are we gonna do this? Because, to go back through 30 years of wood and cut one area out and clean it, and tell the guy with the 20 deer stands around the drain that, we're gonna cut.
He likes to shoot things anyway.
Off the bat, it's a little bit overwhelming, but I think if you put a process in place and say, okay, we're gonna address it in sections, little pieces at a time, we can get there. Some of them, I know that the code says, one side of the drain has to be clear. Some of them, I'm gonna make a simple recommendation to you guys and just leave them the way they are. Because yes, they do have trees on both sides of them, but as long as we keep the channel open, we go through and clean it out. It's not feasible to cut every tree on one side of the drain. Some of them are just overwhelming. It's like deforestation. I mean, you'll spend $100,000 just clearing trees and you haven't touched the drain yet. So we have to use common sense. I know that the law is pretty clear about what drainage should look like, but if it's working and we keep the channel open, I'm gonna recommend against just chopping stuff down and just deforestation for the hell of it. Okay. Now there are a lot of drains that what I did, I'll walk on the edge of the field, and yes, there are brush and there are some trees along the way. Those have to be cleared because there's access off of the field. The one like I just showed you in the middle of the forest, what's the purpose? It's just going to keep on growing. The ones at the edge of the field, we do have to cut. Some of them have trees that are 6 feet in diameter that have grown on the edge of the drain. Although, again, the rule says it has to be clear, I will recommend that we work around those big trees and just leave them for erosion control measures. They're there, they haven't been touched. We'll take all the brush and all the small trees out, just clean one side. And you know what, if we need access to that drain, we can work around one tree. We're gonna use a little bit more common sense than just saying, this is how it's supposed to be, we're gonna do it that way. All right? So the spreadsheet that I gave you, I'm hoping that every time we go do field work, I'm gonna come back and there's gonna be a little bit more X's on there. It's hard to say which ones are the new ones. It's just basically based on field work. Do we have data? Have we mapped it? Yes, we have mapped it. Then we go do the field work. We find out what it needs. And then we come back and fill in this information. And at some point, Colleen, it used to be Brenda, I will need to know how much funds you have in each drain. So I can recommend to you what is the best use of that fund. Sometimes maybe it's just resetting a pipe, sometimes it's clearing the brush or whatever. And then if we do run out of those funds, how do we re-kick the assessments so we have money to continue doing work? Or is there a magic pot that you guys have that we could use to clear some of those drains and get them functional? They may not have money, and then we can start assessing moving forward. Some of these drains require immediate work. Some of them can fall back to the bottom of the list, like the one in Wilson, Nixon, the one on top where the farmers have done work. There's a lot of dipping that needs to be done on some of those channels, but does it have to happen today? No. Does it have to happen next year? No. They're functional. The drain is functional, everything looks good. Then you get the surprises like the Malat. We walked that drain and everything looked good until we found one inlet on the opposite side of the road that was not supposed to be there. The farmer set an inlet right under the road and tapped it into the drain, and it catches 40 acres that were never assessed. Now the problem is they're gonna go and tell that farmer, because you set that inlet there, if there's 40 acres that are in our drain that theoretically should have never been in the drain, but it's there. So we have to go with what we have. Those are the things that I'll give you the science, I'll let Kent and you guys do the politics,
There's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of, but on the opposite side of things, Andrew, because these guys have seen it before, on the opposite side of things, you have some that have reductions. See, historically is the black drain. So these guys have never been assessed. These guys have been assessed for no reason. Sure. So we have to do both now. Then you have drains that cross county lines, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them cross county lines. So we have to work with Montgomery County and Tippecanoe County on how do we address those drainage areas. So you can see, like, look at this drain, the Hahn drain. This is what it used to be. The blue is what it actually is.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have hundreds of acres that have not been assessed over the years because they didn't know.
Right.
They probably used roads or ditches to say this is the edge of our drain and that's how that.
Sure.
Other than that, I just want to get your permission to continue spending money on these drains. I'm doing it as, I have a contract that it's on T&M basis. My contract says I'm on a retainer for, I think, $25,000 a year. So whether I use it or not, I'm supposed to bill you for it. I don't work that way. I'm just, what I spend is what I'm billing. So Brenda, now Colleen, is going to start getting invoices from me that says between September and December or February or January or whatever it is, this is how much I spent on this items. And I have not exceeded my allotment for any year.
And I told her, I said, Hunter, you've been a savior to this county. Collect your money. That's what your contract says. I can't believe you're under it. You wouldn't do it.
No, I won't do it. I'd rather sleep at night than.
And also, I know you interacted with him on the emails and everything, and that's the kind of stuff he was doing to help me out, because before I was on my own, I was expected to go over there, talk to Linda, figure out, is this in a drain or not, and can this person do this or not?
Expertise.
And I have no schooling for any of that, but yet I have the authority to do that. But also, we have authority unless you educate yourself on some of the stuff. You know, I would much rather have him
Oh my
sitting
gosh,
there.
And I'll get you an answer, but in all fairness, when you send me something and I'm working on the drain, if I use half an hour, I'll bill half an hour. It's not like,
Sure.
so I'm doing my job. With this year, if we want to amp this up and start really understanding what's going on, I may bust my budget because there's a lot of work to be done. And I want your blessings to be able to do that. Or do you want me to come back every time and say, okay, I'm going to this drain, I'm going to this drain, whatever is going to work.
I would prefer you be efficient in your time, and if that state's rolling on without our permission, you have our consent to the 25 or whatever. If we need more, we'll deal with it. I would just soon him keep rolling on it, then have to ask
Have
us
to
every
keep
3
coming
minutes.
back and asking.
And that's fine, that's something, eventually, if you end up with a board, that's something that the board will address.
We're gonna sit here and look at each other and go, I guess so. I mean, you're the expert, not us. I mean, it's, well, you can see what our expertise got us.
I guess the only thing I'm thinking on a board is, since we don't have, how many drains does Montgomery County have?
A lot.
A couple hundred?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Once get this under control, it's not gonna be too hard to deal with.
You may need it once a quarter. If, once we get all this wrapped up and cleaned up and.
Is a board gonna hinder or help you? You can be brutally honest.
Working with you guys is faster because there's 3 of you. Working with a board, there's gonna be a lot more
That's
questions.
the positive I see.
That's,
Yeah.
there's a
I don't
lot
have
more
any
questions.
problem if you guys want to do a board, but.
And
I
I
would
think,
say for right now, since,
You
this is just my opinion for right now, if you just leave it the way it is and let him, like you
Start
said,
next
Andrew.
year, we'll look at it next year.
Yes,
you
We
can do
can
that.
look at it next year, we can just say, you guys being new and me not knowing what I'm doing either.
I'd just like to have, see some of these
Well-
drains caught up to speed.
Yeah, that's,
It gives you a chance to, as we, the politics of it, is you communicate with people in the community, and then you can identify people who you want to.
Right,
who might be interested.
right.
One, they might not want to get involved right now with all the work it's gonna take, but
Right.
once it's functioning and set up, like
Mhm.
Robeson said, it's, they know what they're coming into at that point, and it'll be less uncertain.
I think even a letter being sent out, the farmers will see that as progress more so than anything. There'll be some backlash on the letter, but that's all right.
I thought so, but the ones we worked on, 99% of them smile at you and say, oh, Gus got away with that for a long time. didn't
Right.
they?"
Right.
They knew they owed it, and they had no problem paying.
Initially, if we want to continue the way we are, working with the 3 of you is going to be a lot faster.
Okay.
Because once you get to boards, you have people that are not knowledgeable of what's going on. And there's more, the nice thing about a board is there's more checks and balances.
Sure.
They challenge you, why are you doing this? Why are you spending the money? But then I have to explain it to them, whereas to you, that it has been abandoned for 30 years, it needs to be done.
Right.
I'm not getting, I don't own an excavation company that I'm putting the work into it. I'm just telling you what needs to happen, and then we bid it out to local companies to do it.
Sure.
With the board, it's a little bit more challenging, but it creates check and balance system too. Somebody.
Yeah.
There's politics involved too, because
The-
it's up and running and everything, but the board, they're not the commissioners.
Yeah, there will be a lot more politics here. There isn't. It's just, we need to get it shut down. So maybe we
Just
sit
hold
back
tight
on
this
the
year.
board and just clean this up a little bit, get it to a point where a board can take it and say,
Yeah.
yeah, this is good, let's go.
Yep.
It's up to you guys.
I'm in favor of you just progressing, and we'll just keep in contact here and work with you, and you'll have to excuse some of our ignorance on some of this stuff, and I'll try to educate myself, at least I'll speak for myself.
We have good training materials that we can get to get you guys on just what our basic obligations are going forward, and then we'll learn through this assessment process on the 2 that you already did, that you'll pick it up pretty fast.
Yeah.
There's just it's a 100-year-old statute, and you can tell how well it works or how ingrained it is in agribusiness, because all the people that have been paying on these drains for years without much activity, there hasn't been a lot of complaining.
Sure.
And so, I think that farmers understand the benefit of it, and it's a utility. So it's the landowners are pooling their money to get rid of the water so they can have more ground to farm.
Yeah.
And, everybody benefits that, and it's spread out by, usually by percentage of the land ownership.
And Kent mentioned something that I really enjoy watching in Montgomery County is that the lawyer from Montgomery County comes in every so often, maybe once a year, and actually does training for the board and tells them, I'm here to protect you. Here's what you can say, here's what you cannot say, here's the rules, here are the requirements.
Sure.
And I think if Kent starts something like that, it'd be very beneficial for all of you and for me, because it keeps us all on the straight and narrow.
We don't need a lawyer in Montgomery County.
I think his firm is, yeah.
Yeah.
So they have those training documents that are based on code, they're not based on Montgomery County or
Right,
County or
right.
anything like that. And I think that would be very helpful to come in and say, the next board meeting, Roger, you can agree for 15 minutes and then we're gonna do training.
Sure.
Those would be very valuable.
And that's something I use too on some of these people who call, hey, we don't make these rules, it's state of Indiana statute. So then that shuts a lot of them down too. There's like, oh, okay.
Years ago, Boone County reorganized and kind of went through some of the process in the mid-2000s, and it was, there was some uproar, and because farmers had, were used to kind of doing whatever they wanted, but it settled down pretty quickly, and it just works.
Because the farmer knows what those legal terms are, but once, it's like a kid, if you put candy and you tell them not to. You don't tell them not to touch it, they're gonna go for it.
Sure.
If they can tap into that trend, they're gonna tap into it.
Right.
Nobody's saying no.
Right.
But they know what the rules are, their dads and their grandfathers know what the rules are, so we just need to get back on track, that's all.
Yeah.
That's all I have for you guys. We'll keep chugging along, I just
Okay.
wanna make sure we're all on the same page and you guys are okay with me continuing to spend your money. We need to get that.
Yes. Yep. Thank you for all the work and effort that's gone into it so far.
Got this back and just some pictures and maps so you can see where all the drains are.
Perfect, thank you.
Do you have any questions for me? No?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As soon as she's off, okay, so I need to